Hi, welcome back to the Getting to Know Linux series. We're looking at virtualization today. So the video prior to this is the how to download and install VirtualBox and then a little configuration of VirtualBox. So for those of you who are just joining this video, it's go to virtualbox.org. Don't get the one through apt-get. Go to virtualbox.org, download VirtualBox, and download the extensions. And you'll see on the download page when you go there and it gives you all the operating systems, scroll down just a little bit and you'll see the extensions there. Then the configuration is change VirtualBox VMs under preferences to VirtualBox, turn off updates, and install the extensions. There you go. And that's all covered in the prior video. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to be looking over at Ubuntu. So we're going to download Ubuntu 18.04.2, which is a long-term support, LTS. We're going to configure Ubuntu in a virtual machine, and then we're actually going to install Ubuntu. So we're going to walk through the installation process there. This will take a little bit of time, so I'm going to try to do this live. So it will take us a little bit of time there. So getting Ubuntu, we're going to go ahead and grab the image. So if I go over in the web page, this is just Google Ubuntu download. And go ahead and get 18.04. Now this is not the latest edition. 18.10 is the latest edition as of this video. But if you'll go through and download this one, this is good. We're going to get the server image installs. So you just click on that right there and download it. Now you can right click, choose save link as, or you just click it and download it. Because it's unlikely your browser will try to open an ISO. But if it might try to open an ISO, right click that thing and download it to your system. Now, once you got it downloaded, go ahead and open VirtualBox. So we're going to go over here and click, kill that, and look at our VirtualBox manager. We're going to build a machine here. I've got a couple machines already there. We have a Windows XP and a Windows 10 Pro machine installed right here. So those are kind of fun machines that we use for a couple of different classes. And then I'm going to go over and we're going to hit new. So I'm going to hit that new, and this is VirtualBox 6.0. VirtualBox 5 is a little different, but the icon is still new. So we hit that new right there. The name, we're going to make it Ubuntu, and I'm going to go make it 18.04.02. Like that right there. The machine folder, VirtualBox, that's great. Linux, Ubuntu 64-bit, it found it all automatically, so that's just great. I think it's 18.04.2 actually. So let's go back. Maybe I'll change that 18.04.2. Maybe just make 18.04. Make that name shorter. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so now over here for the RAM, I'm going to go ahead and give this 2048 megabytes of RAM. That's 2 gigabytes of RAM. So 2 times 1024 gives us 2048. So we have 2 gigs of RAM in this machine. Go next. I'm going to create that virtual disk. I'm going to make it virtual disk image, the VDI, and we're going to make it dynamically allocated. That means it only grows as required. I'm going to change that 10 gig to 48 gig. So you'll see I most always make it 48 gig on these machines when we're installing them in these videos. And that's because we're just going to give it enough room that it never complains about what it needs. We're not going to be using 48 gig in our virtual machines by a long shot. Now I choose create. It creates the machine, pops up. Now let's go in and do some configuration. So we've created that virtual machine, kind of a virtual machine container, but we've created this virtual machine here. Let's go into settings and configure this thing. So now inside of settings, click on advanced, and we can go ahead and do bidirectional clipboard. Because it's server, we won't be having a GUI on this one, so bidirectional clipboard won't be affecting us that much. System, I'm going to uncheck the floppy disk. It just doesn't need to be there. On the processor, I'll go ahead and give it 2 CPUs, and I'll throttle this down to 90%. Now, some people are saying, well, actually, it's going to tell us right here that, what you really should do is give it lower CPU, fewer CPUs, not decrease the execution cap. I'd like to keep the execution cap there at 90%, so I don't have to worry about any kind of problems in the future, as in it using up all my host resources, which it probably wouldn't these days. I'm thinking VirtualBox 6, but hey. Virtual memory, I'm going to go ahead and increase that up for the, video memory. I'm going to increase that for the video memory. We're not going to be using a GUI on this machine, but I want to make sure that we do have sufficient stuff for what will be popping up on the screen. We can reduce this later too. So over at storage, this is where we're going to select that empty CD-ROM drive, go down, choose a virtual disk, and we're going to go to my downloads folder here. Downloads. And got that Ubuntu 1804.2 live server AMD64.ISO. So I'm going to choose open. Got that, added it. Audio, don't need audio, it's a server. Network, we will be choosing bridged on this so we can access it. So we can go ahead and choose bridged now if you want to. On the advanced, we can choose allow all because we will be doing some security operations with this machine. Serial ports, no change. USB, no change. We won't be messing with shared folders in this one. And the user interface, we won't be changing that in this machine. So go ahead and choose OK. Now we'll go ahead and press Start with a play button there. And once Start starts this machine, it will, kind of start right up. So let's where are we at? There we go. This is the machine starting up. Same, we got some dependency failures. It's running through. Now there is one change I want to make in this machine once it gets started, and that's I want to re-enable ETH0, so I want to bring that about. But we'll do that in a future video, which is going to be more of advanced configurations inside of Linux. Preferred language, I'm going to choose English on mine. Keyboard configuration, I'm going to say yes, US English looks great. Supply and config. Now over here we got install Ubuntu or install mass bare metal cloud, etc. rack and region. I'm going to say Ubuntu, yes. It's going to say, hey, is that what you want to do for your DHCP? Yeah, that sounds good. Go for it. We're not going to be creating a bond. We're not going to be taking a bond if you are looking at that kind of thing. If you have more than one Ethernet device on your system, then you can bond those together to either increase throughput or increase reliability for fault tolerance. Let's say one connection goes down, the other one takes over. So you can use 2 gigabyte cards as 2 gigabit cards as 2 gigabits. So if you have a 1 gigabit card, another gigabit card, you can put them together as 2 gigabits of throughput if your switch supports it. Or you can use them as if one line goes down, then you still have one line up. We're not doing that, so that's what that means right there. Proxy address, we're not going to be using a proxy address, so I'm going to click continue. I'm going to try to expand this window out just so we can be sure to see everything so you can see what's going on there. Okay, and down there we have the archive Ubuntu COM. That looks fine. I'm going to go ahead and choose done. It says use an entire disk. I am going to use an entire disk. I'm not going to be setting up an LVM. If you want to be resizing disks in the future or adding storage, then LVM might be a good choice, but we're going to go ahead and just choose an entire disk. So what disk? The VirtualBox disk. You notice it's 48 gig, one we just selected earlier. Yep. And now it's going, hey, these are the partitions. Is this what you want to do with the partitions? We're going to say, yeah, that looks fine in the partitions. It's giving us a mount point where that slash is on there. And that slash is root. And it tells us that our size will be 47.997 gig. And that's partition to local disk. If we look down the bottom, we'll see the BIOS grub and partition 2 is going to be the root. Want to continue? Yes. Now here's where we put our name. I'm going to go ahead and put student, the server's name. I'm going to put WRKSTN00. Pick a username. It is student, all lowercase. The password is password and password. So I've got student, capital name there, and lowercase student for the username. Go down and I'll choose, oh, the way I'm getting down to done is the mouse doesn't work in here. So I'm clicking tab to get down to done. Maybe I should have mentioned that. Now for the install open SSH server, I do want that. So I'm going to hit spacebar. And over here, import an identity. We're not going to be doing that right now, but installing this open SSH server at this point in time, that's a good idea. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And that's great for us. This allow password authentication over SSH is already chosen, so yeah, we're good. And we will be looking at identities in the System Foundations course a little bit later on. It's using next, and it's like, hey, do you want to install some other things in here? Now, we will be installing some of these utilities through the course. And yes, people may say it would just be easier to install them right here. And it might be. But we are not going to select anything right there because part of the exercises in the future is apt installing or aptitude install or apt-get install the different applications. So we're going to apt-get install those applications as time goes on. So I'm going to go ahead and choose done. And it says, all right, this is the config. We're going through running these things. This is what I'm doing. And it's going to try to get this system installed for us. Now this is a full install. There are no pauses in this. This is from start to finish, and it is it does take a little bit of time. So we are looking at a little time as it goes through and configures everything. Now it says reboot now. So we've got the Linux system installed. It took I don't know 30 seconds or so there. But the entire process takes about 10 minutes. Now it says remove the installation medium and press enter. We can go up and choose devices, optical drives, and if it's still there, we can remove it. It's not, so we don't have to worry about it. So now let's just press enter. It's going to go through, try to get the machine started. And once the machine comes up, we will try to log in. And then we will try to ping the system to be sure that it's actually accessible. All right, so the system has come up now. It's saying, oh, we're mounting some things. It's still running in the background with some other services. It's generating some host keys here. These are keys that it's going to use for SSH authentication and other things of that sort. Stuff that you don't want on the screen if this was a secure system. So let's go log in, student, and password. And of course, you wouldn't want your password to be password either on a secure system. So there we go, secure. And we have the system login there. I'm going to do an ifconfig. Our ifconfig is 192.168.1.120. I'll go ahead and start a terminal window here. Let me get out of this window there. And I've got my window up there so I can then connect back over. So what am I going to ping to? I'm going to ping that system right there for those of you who are like, 120, where'd you see that? That's 192.168.1.120. It's under ENP0S3. So I'm going to go back over to the next window, and I'm going to ping that. We'll see if I can see it. All right, look at that. We are actually pinging that machine. We can actually see the machine, and it is online and operational. That is it. That is downloading Ubuntu, configuring the Ubuntu virtual machine, and installing Ubuntu 18.04 right there in that virtual machine. So we've got a fully operational server running Ubuntu, and it took us less than 12 minutes to actually do the install. Hope that this is helping. I look forward to talking to you later.